So, I've been working on a pretty big project and other stuff in life, because life just gets to you. And I'm working on a pretty big new series for my other channel. So that's been taking up a lot of my time, and I realized I have not uploaded in a while. So I'm gonna upload a quickie little video. It's actually probably gonna be kind of long because I'm covering a lot, but I've done some tier lists before in the past for Maddie and Chloe, and then I also found one for Kendall and just like never got around to doing it. I think Kendall definitely deserves more appreciation in the fandom for sure because I mean, like you don't have to be a super big fan of her as a person to enjoy her dancing because I think she's a pretty solid dancer and definitely deserves more credit. So I'm gonna get right into this. So here are my tiers. They're not gonna be ranked in order for sure, but I'm just gonna go down the list and get into that. So here we have, and also feel free to correct me if I mess something up because I probably will. I'm really tired right now. So first, we're gonna start with Sweet Little Lies. This was one of her first solos on the show, I think. It was okay. Like, I'm just gonna be straight up. It's okay. Like, this solo actually gets a lot of hate. I don't think it's bad by any means. It just doesn't stick out to her. Like, there's nothing super special about it. She had better solos that season and better solos just in general, for sure. But yeah, it's a solid one. I didn't particularly enjoy it, but it's not bad, I would say. I just think there could have been more to it. I think this is My Name in Lights. I love this solo. I definitely think it was one of her strongest of season 4. I'm kind of debating on where to rank it, if it's amazing or great. Because I used to think that this was like one of her best solos ever, blah, 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 and I still really enjoy it, but there are some that I like better. I'm gonna go ahead and put it in amazing just because she performed really well. I do think that this should have been performed at another comp and not at nationals, simply because I feel like it wasn't competitive enough, but I definitely think she should have placed higher than 9th. And I really enjoyed that solo, so yeah. This one's, I believe, Under My Spell. I'm gonna put that in good because I really like it, but I feel like she had better solos that season. I feel like she wasn't quite as enticing or as engaging as she was during some other parts of that season and in other solos in general, but she was solid. Okay, Demand Applause. Honestly, it would go in amazing had she not messed up that turn sequence at the beginning. Because as this is an infamous solo of Kendall actually falling out of her turns, because she doesn't fall out of her turns that often. I think she just got nervous, had a little slip up. There's a lot of drama surrounding, like, who was going first that episode, blah, blah, blah. But, like, yeah. And then I did notice that she lost a little bit of confidence throughout the rest of the solo because of this, but overall, she did a great job, and off show, it's amazing. So, highly recommend watching the off show version of it, but it would go in amazing, but it's gonna go in great because she did mess up the beginning. Hala, I'm gonna put in okay simply because I just thought it was so watered down. At this point, Kendall definitely was capable of more, and this was just beneath her at this point. I didn't like the choreography. The costume is horrendous, and she didn't seem super engaged, and frankly, I don't blame her because she honestly was definitely set up to lose here because Chloe had this gorgeous lyrical solo and definitely deserved the win, but at this point, this was just too watered down for Kendall, and I think she deserved better. Same with Battled Feet. I felt kind of bad for her because she was having like a straight up panic attack in the middle of class, which is really sad. And she definitely didn't deserve that. I felt really bad for her. But I don't really remember much about this solo. I guess I'll put it in good. Simply because it was solid. Like, she definitely could have done better. But considering all the stress that was going on, I'll give this one to her. Like, she did a good job. Obviously, she was going up against Maddie and Ava, so definitely nerve-wracking, but I'll give her props for going out there and doing it after a really stressful week. Just Rain. This used to be one of my, like, very favorites, but, because her technique was really, like, solid, and it definitely showcased her improvement, but it just wasn't as engaging as some of the other solos that she did that season, and just in general. But, yeah, and she got the technique award for this. I'm honestly surprised that this didn't win. Like, I know she was going up against Gavin, but, like, he had really weird choreography, and even though he's a phenomenal dancer, I just didn't enjoy his as much. So I was a little surprised that Kendall didn't win. But regardless, she did a good job, but a great job, even. I'm going to put this... This is kind of close. Maybe I'd, like, switch it like that. I think this is Dream It. A lot of Kendall's costumes look the same, so I might butcher these, but I think this is Dream It. Another great one for Kendall. She had a lot of great solos in season 4. I really like this solo. She definitely showed a lot more personality. I'm not sure why. It doesn't stick out to me as much as some of her other solos for some reason, but I very much enjoyed the solo. I do think it's underrated, and lately it's been getting a decent amount more of attention, which is nice. Fool Me Twice, it's good. I'm gonna put it in good, because I think she like, these solos that she had were more engaging and more memorable, even though this was like a quote-unquote Maddie solo that she got to, like, re-perform, basically. I thought she had solid fluidity and, like, decent technique, but I do think that she wasn't as into it as she could have been, which is understandable considering, like, it was over her head that it was a quote-unquote Maddie solo, because it was, and it was phenomenal. So I understand why she wasn't as engaged, but it was still good, and she danced very well. Welcome to a New World. I'm gonna put it in great. I mean, yeah, I know it's not, like, real Bollywood for sure, but she, like, considering the fact that her music stopped, she's a champ for continuing to dance, so props to her for that. And she was solid. Like, I do think she could have been a little bit more engaging and a little sharper, because it was a little bit, I don't want to say sloppy, but, like, just some parts of it looked a little bit blah compared to some others, but otherwise she was really good. And this is also another underrated solo, in my opinion. This is Major. I didn't really like this one that much. She kind of started off with a bang, and then after she messed up with the prop, it just kind of went downhill. And so I felt bad for her, but not my favorite from her. It was still solid, though. She came out strong. So I'll put it in okay. Just an Illusion, definitely one of my favorite Kendall solos. That turn sequence she did was so satisfying, and she was so engaged, and she just looked happy. She performed really well. So yeah, definitely one of my favorites. Welcome to My Life. I don't know why, this has never really been one of my favorites, but, like, after rewatching it, she did a pretty solid job, so I'll put it in good. But I don't know why, I just didn't like it as much for some reason. Like, a lot of her jazz solos I like, because she seems to get more into them when they're more mature jazz, but, like, this was weird. I don't know why. It just doesn't stick out to me. Because she did a good job, but whatever. Immortal, kind of similar. I hated the song, and not gonna lie, that kind of, like, put a damper on it, and it's definitely not the best performance she did that season, but she still did a really good job. I think she won, like, first in jazz or something like that, and then, like, third in her division. I don't remember, but, like, she did a solid job, and she had a really pretty costume, and, like, you know, I just, not my favorite of hers that season, but still really good. Blowing Red, yes, she had a little trouble with the prop. I don't remember if that was just during rehearsal time or not, but overall, I thought this was a very beautiful solo. And it came in, like, right behind Maddie. So she did a really, like, that costume's so pretty too. Like, I think I just overall aesthetically liked that dance, because I don't know how to explain it. It's just really pretty. And her technique was solid, and she did a good job. Like, she did a great job. I really love this solo, actually. I need to rewatch it, but I remember loving it a lot. The meltdown. Yeah, the meltdown isn't as bad as people make it out to be. Like, not her best performance-wise, and frankly, I don't blame her because she had an allergic reaction to the latex, which is definitely not her fault. I hate how they made it out that she was being bratty when she was really having an allergic reaction. Like, I would be upset if I had an allergic reaction backstage too. So, props to her for going on stage and doing that after having an allergic reaction, but not her most engaging solo, but I do think overall she was solid. Okay, look, this solo, All Eyes on Me, is slightly overhated because I do think it's mostly the choreography, the music, and the costume that are just ridiculous, but she just did not look engaged at all. So that combined with like all of it and not being as clean as she usually is just kind of puts it to the bottom for me. Like, if you like this solo, cool. Like, I'm not going to judge you for that, but I just really can't get on board with it. Natalie Wood. Okay, I'm not the biggest fan of this theme, but I do think that this was a pretty good solo for her. I'm not sure if I want to put it up in amazing, but I think it'd definitely go in great. It was a highlight for her that season for sure. And yeah, she was overall really good. So I'm going to put it in great. Not my favorite theme, but she came off strong. So I'm going to put it there. Cold and Clear had a lot of potential, but I feel like she just didn't connect as well as she could have. Like, I want to put it in great because her technique was solid and she definitely did a pretty good job overall, but like not quite as engaging. Curiosity, I'm gonna put it in great. Like, another time in this season where I really thought she's took it up a notch, because I know this season was pretty rough for her, and frankly I don't blame her for being upset. Like, yeah, she had her moments, but like she was going through a rough time, and I feel like it's not fair that people just like blame her for everything, because she did have some solid solos that season. So I'm gonna put it in great. Maybe not one of my favorites, and it didn't like wow me or anything, but it was really good and definitely deserves more credit. We don't talk about this one. The Scream. Okay, I'm gonna put it in great. Her acting was amazing, but the choreography is just really not my favorite. Like, I remember in one of Pre-C's videos where it's like a rose, a bud, and a thorn for each dancer each season. This would be a bud for me because she performed really, really well, but it just didn't have the greatest choreography, and she was kind of just walking around the whole time, if I remember correctly. So yeah, I'm gonna put it in great for that reason, but she did a good job. The Journey. Okay, I'm gonna put it in great. I know this might be, I don't know if this is unpopular or not, but like, her technique was really good, definitely showed improvement from season 6, but I don't know if it's just me, but I found it kind of bland compared to some of her other solos that season. So it didn't wow me, but it was still really good and definitely deserves more credit. Because a lot of people say like they don't like her dancing in season 7. I beg to differ. Like, she had quite a few solid solos and one amazing one that I'm gonna get to right now. DOA. I know this one isn't everyone's favorite, but it generally seems to be well praised, and I really enjoyed it because she definitely had improved her storytelling from like across the seasons, and this has just ended up being one of my favorites from her. There were a few parts that weren't like perfect technically, but I completely overlooked that because she just drew me in the whole time. And by the way, this is ranked by my personal opinion, not by like technique and stuff like that. So, also I do have some kind of controversial opinions sometimes, so you don't have to agree with me, but that's definitely how I feel about that solo. Not just another pretty face. That week was Kendall's week. Like, she slayed the group dance, and she definitely deserved her win with that solo. It was gorgeous. I mean, I do feel kind of bad for Chloe and Nia, because they were definitely set up that week, but also like Kendall was just gorgeous in this dance. She really showed that she could take a well choreographed solo with a good theme and win. So I really love that solo. Not my favorite, but it was really, really well done. Definitely deserves one of the top spots. Clueless. I'm gonna put it in great. I'm actually gonna go ahead and put it in great. I really love Kendall's musical theater because she seems to be a lot more like relaxed and like engaged with them. And the one thing I don't really like about this solo is it was kind of immature. Like, it was just kind of silly. Especially because I know she ended up accidentally, or like, it wasn't an accident, but there was like a mishap with like the age categories or something. So she ended up being in the teen division. So this was probably too immature for the teen division. But she did a good job, and I think she performed really well, and it was cute. So I'm going to put it in great. I love Easy as 1, 2, 3. Like, this is one of my favorite earlier Kendall solos, 100%. She did a really good job. And I think this is one of my favorites from her. She has a lot of really underrated season 3 solos, and this is definitely one of them. Kiss Kiss is good. I'm gonna put it in good. I feel like a lot of people, including myself, overhate this solo because it beat Ghost, Chloe's solo. So that's why like some people like hate on it a little bit too much. But I think like placements regardless of placements, like I would say that this was a good solo. It was definitely one of her strongest from season 2. And I just, it was cute. It was fun. She looked happy on stage and she did a lot of good tricks. So I'm going to put it in good for sure. My Dear Friend. Okay, this solo gets a little bit too much hate. Like, yes, she looked like a deer in the headlights, but that's also because her music cut off. So I give her a little bit of slack for that. And her technique was not great, but she was like 8, so give her a break. And yeah, I mean, I honestly would put it in okay. I really didn't hate it that much. It's definitely not one of her best, but it's really not that bad. It Girl, however, is probably my least favorite of hers from season 3. I don't know if I want to put it in the lowest tier, because it wasn't horrendous, but it just wasn't, like, great. She did a lot, pretty much all of her season 3 solos were better. I'm gonna put it in okay, because I feel like these two I really just dislike, while these I'm kind of just like, at least she like, I don't hate it. So I'm gonna put it in okay. But it was definitely her weakest season 3 solo in my opinion. I think I Like You was good. She didn't connect to it as much as she did Kiss Kiss, but she still, like, looked like she was having fun and had overall solid technique for an 8-year-old. I mean, I think she was like 8 or maybe just turned 9. So props to her. Now, Bring On the Boys. Like, I do give her some slack because this was her first performance, like her first big solo on like the show. Obviously, she was nervous, but she wobbled a lot and she just looked like a deer in the headlights. Like, she did. I felt really bad for her, but like, this just wasn't her best. Really cute costume though. Oh, I can't decide if I'm gonna put this in like favorites or if I'm gonna put it in amazing, but I love this solo. Like, recently I've been loving it more. I always enjoyed Waiting on a Train to Paris. Maybe she could have told the story a little more, but it's overall just really aesthetically pleasing, and I'm surprised that it didn't place. It was really good. Like, I definitely think that this should have placed. And hot take, I think this was my favorite solo of that episode. Because Nia, Maddie, and Kendall all performed quite well that day, but I think this ended up being my favorite of the bunch. Yeah. Okay. Luxor. Another one that I don't know if I'm going to put it in okay or not my favorite. I don't like that Kendall was typecasted as Egyptian, because she's white. But I also don't want to hold that against her dancing. I don't know. I'll put it in okay. I'm not surprised she didn't place high. It's kind of like It Girl. Like, I didn't really like either of them that much, but they weren't like, they didn't stand out to me negatively. They're just like not her best. So I'll put it in okay. These two are kind of like at the bottom of okay. I guess these three are. Burn, I'm gonna put it in good, because overall it's not bad. Like, it's a good solo, but it just fell flat because she had a lot of pressure on her that week. And I think her off-show version is really good, if I remember correctly. But yeah, it just wasn't my favorite. Okay. Living the Blues. I love Living the Blues. It's really, really good. Again, I love her musical theater. She seems to really connect to it. And this was a more mature musical theater piece. So, and I love the costume. And she just had this like relaxed yet sassy at the same time vibe. And I just really enjoyed that. So yeah, I might bump these two. I'm going to put these two at the front alongside My Name in Lights, because these are kind of like my favorites of Amazing, but I don't know if I'm going to bump them up to like my very favorites. Same with Look at Me Now, because her performance abilities definitely showcased really well here. Like, maybe her technique wasn't perfect, but she was so into it and she showed so much variety. I really, really like that solo. I'll put Masked in good. Not her best, but I also feel like we didn't get a fair judgment on it, because when she didn't place because she ended up getting disqualified, I think, which isn't her fault, but like, it was an age division issue. But overall, I think she did a solid job. Like, it's definitely not her best, but like, it was solid. Oh, is this what was this called? Oh You Nothing or something like that. I definitely think she did a pretty good job with that, because they were at a really tough competition. Like, Chloe got 10th, Nia didn't place, and Kendall got 9th. So that was definitely a tough competition. So, and I do think that she did a pretty solid job. So I'm going to put that in good. Queen of Hearts was not my favorite, because she was, I don't know, she was just she had that like deer in the headlights look, and frankly I don't blame her, because she said her costume was really tight, and frankly it looks super uncomfortable. So I don't blame her for being kind of like on stage. The choreography was solid. Like, she if she was more into it, it would have been pretty good. It would probably be much higher. But season 2, she had a lot of like rough solos, because she was still getting used to the formula of the show. And she kind of like, had some pretty good ones too. So I'm not hating on her, but this just wasn't my favorite. I think this is Rise and Fall. This is like her unaired solo that performed, or I don't remember exactly, but I think she performed it like at a concert or something like that. And it was solid. It just didn't draw me in. So I'm going to put it in good, but like, it wasn't one of my favorites. Oh, which one's this? I can't see. Oh, this might be Secrets and Lies. I don't know if I'm going to put that in good or great, but I would say it'd be like at the top of good, because I remember it being really solid. Maybe it didn't place as well, but it was still really, really good. Harlem Globetrotters halftime show. This one was really good. Actually, I think this one might be my favorite of season 2 from her, because she was just like so happy and carefree. I'm actually gonna put this in great. Hot take. I'm gonna put it in great, because she looked like she was having fun. And then, even though her technique wasn't perfect, she showed off her underrated tumbling skills and just seemed so relaxed. I think this was one of the earlier solos that she did too. So the fact that she was just so like chill there was really cool. Hands Up. I really enjoy. I I mean, like, was it technically the best? No. But this was another one where she was just so into it. Like, she was more relaxed. She was on the beat. Her facials were good. Yeah, maybe it didn't place as high, but I still found it pretty entertaining. And I definitely think it's one of her underrated season 3 solos. So definitely goes in great. Yeah, Victorious, these ones with the like props just aren't my favorite. Actually, I'm gonna put it in good because I remember her technique actually being quite decent in this solo, if I recall correctly. I mean, the theme isn't my favorite, and I don't like the costume, and the prop was like just kind of weird, but she was good. So I'm gonna put it in good. Favorite Kendall solo, hands down, has got to be Voodoo Doll. I am obsessed with the turn sequence that she did, and she was so happy. Hot take, I think she should have won. I love this solo. I'm obsessed with it. I wish we got the full version of it because the one she did on the reunion show wasn't quite as sharp and had really bad editing, which is not Kendall's fault, by the way. But I'm obsessed with this solo. I am obsessed. These are my top 3 in order, for sure. And then we've got Waiting, which is very beautiful overall. I think might have been one of my favorites from season 5 as well. And I feel like when I watch Waiting, I love it more and more each time. She had a lot of like waiting on a train for Paris. Which is really cute. So I think I'm gonna wait 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. I'll rank my top 11. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's see. Yeah. Okay, I think that's my order. The rest of these aren't ranked, but I think I'm gonna go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and then these follow. But yeah, that's my overall like kind of tier system of Kendall solos. And I definitely think she's an underrated dancer because a lot of people give her hate just because maybe she wasn't as engaging as one dancer or as technical as another, but I do think she was an overall well-rounded dancer and had some enjoyable solos, even though I feel like she was more comfortable as a group dancer or duo trio dancer, but I still enjoy a lot of her solos. Like these great on up, I very much enjoy. So guys, like you don't have to agree with her outside of the show. I don't, but don't hate on her dancing because that's just rude. Like there's really no point in that. So props to you, Kendall, for being in a stressful environment and going out there and doing this because it's tough and I don't know if I would have been able to handle it if I was in your position. So props to you. I hope you enjoyed the video. Please feel free to leave your opinions down below. I'd love to hear what y'all think. Peace out. Check out my other channel because I'm gonna have a video up sooner or later and I'll link my channel below when it comes out. Thank you for watching.